Assalamualaikum my dear students. Hope you are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Welcome to NIEVS Homeschool. I am Nasima Akter, Assistant Teacher of Science, National Ideal, English Version School, Morning Shift. Dear students, today I am going to take a biology class for class 10 students. Dear students, our today's topic is chapter 11 and this is lecture number 1. And our SW number is also 1. So let's start the class. Students, our today's topic is chapter 11 and the name of this chapter is reproduction in organism. And here is page number 228. Reproduction is a physiological activity through which organism continue existence by producing offspring, that means the next generation. Reproduction is of two types, asexual and sexual. In most lower organisms, sexual reproduction does not occur. Most higher plants and all higher animals produce offspring through sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, two reproductive cells are fused. In this case, one is called the male reproductive cell or sperm and the other is called the female reproductive cell or ovum. In higher plants, there are two types of reproductive cells produced in the same body. These are monoecious plants. When two types of reproductive cells are produced in separate bodies, these plants are called dioecious plants. The precondition of developing any reproductive cell is that the germinal mother cell will have to divide through meiosis. As a result, the number of chromosomes in a reproductive cell become half that of the mother cell. The zygote develops by fusing one male gamete with one female gamete and thus the number of chromosomes become the same as the mother cell. Later the zygote divides repeatedly through meiosis to develop the new body of the newly born organism. In this way, an organism gives birth to many organisms. An organism this way also maintains the flow of its future generation. If reproduction did not occur in organisms, they would be extinct. From a bacterium to a human beings, all organisms maintain the existence of their species by reproducing. How an organism accomplishes its reproduction depends on the characteristics of the organism. This is why a lower organism does reproduction through cell division, while an organism of a higher level accomplished reproduction through the complex process of sexual reproduction. Through sexual reproduction is a complicated, laborious and time-consuming process in comparison to asexual reproduction. It has still taken a place in evolution. Due to mitotic cell division, it is easy to get a gene variation from one generation to the next. We have seen in the third chapter and will see in chapter 12 and 13 that this variation is very helpful for the existence of any species in unfavorable environment conditions. On the other hand, through asexual reproduction, the daughter cells that are produced are exactly the same as the mother cell. So, very little variety is seen. Comparatively, in similar living organisms such as bacteria, protozoa, reproduction is possible in large numbers using very little energy. So, asexual reproduction is still exists. Now, come to here plant reproduction. Reproductive organ, flower. Plant's reproductive organ is a flower. A flower is a special type of modified shoot for reproduction. A flower is the reproductive organ of a higher plant. Two androecium and gynoecium of the 5 volts of a flower are very significant for reproduction. They directly take part in the reproduction. Through other part or whole of a flower do not directly take part in reproduction. They help the process. The flowers which have 5 volts are called complete flower, such as China rose, datura. If a flower lacks any of 5 holes, it is called an incomplete flower, such as bottle gourd, pumpkin. The flowers which have pedicel are called sessile flower, such as China rose, pumpkin, and those which have no pedicel are called non-sessile flower, such as Indian heliotrope. When both the androecium and the gynoecium are present in a flower, it is called bisexual flower, such as China rose, datura. If the androecium or gynoecium is absent, this flower is called unisexual flower, such as bottle gourd, pumpkin. If both the androecium and gynoecium are absent in a flower, it is called a neuter flower. Now, different parts of a flower. First, here is the thalamus. This is usually round and is developed at the tip of a floral axis. The other parts or whole of a flower are arrayed consecutively on the floral axis, one after the other. Now, calyx. The outermost whole of a flower is called the calyx. Each of the part of calyx is called sepal. If the sepal of the calyx are not separated, it is called gamocephalous or apocephalous. If the sepals are separated, it is called polycephalous. The green calyx takes part in the production of food. Their main function is to save the inner parts of a flower from the sun, rain and attack of insects and pests. When the calyx is of different colors, it plays important roles of pollination and it attracts different animals such as insects, birds, etc. as the medium of accomplished pollination. It will be pollination. Now, corolla. It is the outermost but one hole of a flower. If the corolla is segmented, each segment is then called petal. If the petals in a corolla are separated from each other, the term polypetalous is used then. In case of having sepals wholly or partially fused, they are called gamopetalous. Corolla are usually colorful. They protect the internal part of a flower from the sun and rain. Bright colorful corolla attract animals, birds, insects, etc. and help pollination. Sometimes insects draw nectar from the corolla of a flower. The purpose of pollination is served when the caries complete these activities. Students, look at here, this is the figure and it shows the different parts of a flower and this is called petal. This colorful part is petal and this is anther. And here is the filament, and anther and filament is together called stamen, and here is sepal. This is the part of the calyx, sepal, and here is the floral axis. Here is the floral axis. This is pedicel and here is ovary. Here is ovary, and here this is the style and this one is the stigma, and then stigma, style and ovary is called together gynoecium. Now come to here, this page 231, androecium. It is the third hole from the outside of a flower and it is an essential hole. Every part of an androecium is called a stamen. In an androecium, there may be one or more stamens. The stalk-like structure of stamen is called the filament and the sac-like apical structure of it is called the anther. The part of a stamen which connects the another to the filament is called connective. Pollens are developed in an anther. A pollen tube is produced from a pollen after germination. The male gamete is produced in the pollen tube. The male gametes directly take part in reproduction. In some plants, the filaments may be connected to each other and sometimes the anthers may combine with each other. when the stamens merge together with all the filaments into a tube-like group, it is called a Monodelphase. This is a picture of Monodelphase. Such as in Chinese hibiscus, if the filamentous are attached with two groups, it is called a diadelphous. This is a picture of diadelphous. And when in many groups, it is called a polydelphous. And here is the next picture is polydelphous. C number, polydelphous. Such as cotton tree. When anthers are united into a single group, it is called Syngenesis. And here is the D number is Syngenesis. The state of being of the stamen free of attachment to corolla, the androecium is called epipetalous. And here is the picture of epipetalous, such as datura. Now, gynoecium. The gynoecium is at the center of a flower. It is another essential whole of a flower. A gynoecium may be structured with one or more carpels. A carpels has three parts: the ovary, style and stigma. When a gynoecium is formed with many more carpels which are completely merged with each other, then it is called cynocarpus, and when they are separated, it is called polycarpus. Now come to here, this is 232 number page. One or more ovules are in a flower arranged inside of the ovary. Within the ovule, the female reproductive cell ovum is produced. This ovum, like an androecium, is directly involved in the process of reproduction. Now come to here, inflorescence. Clusters of flowers arranged in a branch of a tree is called inflorescence. And here is the picture of inflorescence. Now come to here, this page, this is 233 page. It is called peduncle when flowers are orderly arranged. This is called peduncle. If the growth of this exists in unlimited, it is called indefined inflorescence, racemose. And in case of limited growth of the axis, it is called defined inflorescence, cymose. And inflorescence plays important role in pollination. Two consecutive steps occur in reproduction, pollination and fertilization. Students, now I have finished my today's topic. Now I will give you HW. Our today's HW number is 1 number HW, and your HW will be make 5 MCQ from this topic. Make 5 MCQ with question and answer from this topic. You will make 5 MCQ question, and also you will make the options with the answers. So dear students, I hope you have understood today's topic. Keep practice it at home and do your assign SW in your SW copy and submit your SW on every Saturday. So dear student, stay home and well. Thank you.